Good morning. Happy Monday on May 4th. And we are again privileged to be able to be live in the field, this time for the first time, livestock. So we're going to be live today with Meg Brown from Table Mountain Ranch, and she's going to describe where that is, but she literally is out with her hogs in the field, and we're going to be seeing those in just a bit because they're adorable. She's going to talk about all of what she does at Table Mountain Ranch, which is not just hogs. She has a lot of cattle as well, her family, and a lot of other things that she does and she's been doing for the past many years in the agriculture industry. So we're going to get started with just a quick round of introductions around the state with staff. I'll start. Mary Kimball, Executive Director of the Center for Land-Based Learning, and I am in Woodland. Joseph.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Montoya. I'm the Farms Leadership Coordinator for the Sacramento Valley, broadcasting here from my wife's reading nook in Sacramento.
It's very nice.
Good morning. My name is Katie Wortman. I am the Central Valley Farms Leadership Coordinator, coming to you from Fresno.
Good morning. My name is Romy Wattenbarger. I'm the Kern County Farms Coordinator here in Bakersfield.
Good morning. I'm Letty Hernandez. I am the Farms Coordinator for Monterey and Santa Cruz counties.
Yay. Okay. We've got everybody ready to watch Meg today, including some children. It's homeschool day with a couple of our coordinators, and so we've got some kids on there too. Hi, good to see you. All right, Meg, you're up. I want to do a quick intro of you, which is actually kind of funny because it is around pigs. So I don't even remember how many years ago this is, but you're going to know, in that I was following you on Twitter, and I remember one night I was kind of just watching some conversations, and I found you somehow, and I don't know how I found you, but you were talking about pigs, and you were talking about how you were so excited to get your first, I believe your first sow. So however many years that was, and we were talking about breeds and, you know, why you were so interested in hogs and starting your hog operation. And I just remember we had a fun back and forth that night, and I've been following you ever since. So it's great to have you on, because you are certainly a social media person, and lots of people have followed you and seen you across the country and probably across the world. But you know, it's great to have you with us today. So do a quick introduction, or maybe a long introduction of yourself and your background and your ranch, and where you are right now. Good morning.
That was 6 or 7 years ago when I got my first sow. Like, that was a long time ago now. Like I'm old school now.
You've been doing this forever now.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, my name is Megan Brown, and I'm here on Table Mountain Ranch out of Oroville. This is our winter ranch. We have 2 ranches. We summer in Greenville, which is in Plumas County, and we take our cattle up there. Our pigs stay down here year round. They're free range hogs. They're heritage hogs. I have large black, old spot, and red wattle, and 1 mule foot. And these are all breeds of pigs I had never heard of back when I was in 4-H. I had Durocs and Hamps and Yorks. So in my mid-20s, I decided that I needed my own business on the ranch, because I'm a 6th generation cattle rancher. That's what my family's been doing forever. And I wanted my own income. I wanted a little more independence. In college, they told us to diversify our ranches. That would give us a better chance of surviving. So that is what I did. I diversified. But I also diversified into social media and jewelry making, and pretty much anything I could get my little fingers in, I got it in, because I love the experience. And every time I get involved in something, I did community theater. I make friends, I make connections, and it's glorious. And that's how I'm telling Ag's story, is I'm getting out of agriculture, which is kind of a challenge for a lot of us when you've grown up in this world and all your friends raise animals and all the meetings you go to are, you know, ag people. You know, communicating out of that bubble is a challenge, but it's something I've done really well, and I'm really proud of it.
You have done that, and actually that's one of the things that I love about you is you have all these groups of people, whether it's on social media or in real life, that are from very different backgrounds, and you provide that window into agriculture that most of them would never get to see or talk about or ask questions about and ask anything about. The other day, I know you hosted a I think it was for kids, right? About what learning about cattle or learning about hogs. I can't remember. I think it was about cattle. Ask me any kind of question. And I love that because so many times people are embarrassed or they don't even know what to ask. You're providing that kind of opportunity for people to feel really open and free about learning something new. So that's an awesome thing that you're doing.
I love that.
So show us some of
That's
your
how I learn too. I would rather connect with somebody and learn, you know.
we're losing you a little, Meg.
Okay, let me move back a little bit.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. I
There
can
we
hear.
go. That's better. So tell us some more about your pigs. Give us the background on hog production. What are the kinds of things that you do as a producer?
Well, I'm a little different from your average producer. All of my pigs are free range. They're outside. It's a very natural way to do it. I don't use farrowing crates, but I also probably have more squished pigs than your average rancher. But I have my line of genetics. My sows now they're huge. My sow behind me here is probably 800 pounds, a little over. She's really, really careful. When she lays down, she'll sing a little song. She'll do a special grunt, and then she flops over. So it gives the piglets a few, minutes to get out of the way. And after about the second or third day, they're pros, no problems. So that's something it's a lot different than your average farmer. The fact they're all free range outside. They have about 3,000 acres here they're running on right now. I did have an electric fence, but after the campfire, I was so scared that electric fence would spark another fire and I'd be responsible for another campfire that I just took it down. I'm gonna redo it in barbed wire probably, but I just haven't got there, and the pigs don't seem to mind, and I like it when they me at my house.
I remember growing up, I remember the first time we got our first sow, and my dad, we hadn't had pigs growing up, and so we got a pig from down the road from some friends as a gilt, and she came and of course she was a York, so I think she was probably about 1,000 pounds, very large sow. And I remember the first time we didn't, he'd set up a farrowing area for her and the whole thing, but they were also free range, had a barn. And we see her like going back and forth, carrying stuff in her mouth. What the heck is this pig doing, right? So eventually we figured out she was building a nest for her babies. Do you want to talk about that? Because it's really incredible and what they do.
Yes, so my sows have this annoying little habit of taking off. I like to call it my farrowing center, and there's everything a pig could want. There's straw, there's food, it's safe, everything. And they won't use it. They refuse to use it. They take off and I'll move behind me here, and go down in this creek canyon for about 2 weeks. And they build a nest, and I freak out, and I worry, and I hunt for them, and I can't find them ever. We also have a couple of guardian dogs, so I know these sows are safe. I know the guardian dogs knows where the sows are. They won't tell me. And then about 2 weeks after they farrow, they do a victory lap around the ranch, and they will bring their babies down and show them off to the households and all the cows and the dogs, and then it's okay. I can play with them and see them, and it's no big deal, but they have to do their take off nesty thing, and it just drives me crazy.
I love that, but it works, obviously.
It does, yeah.
How are you raising these hogs to what size, and then where do they go? How do you sell them?
I do everything. I'm farrow to fork. So I will sell you weaned piglets. I will sell you a roaster piglet. I will sell you gilts. I will sell you finished hogs. I will take the finished hogs to the slaughterhouse for you. So I do all that stuff. But when I when I wean a pig, I usually wait till they're about 8 to 10 weeks old before I'll sell them. I like a big piglet. I like a big, healthy piglet to leave this ranch. Obviously, my reputation is important. When I do a finished hog, I try and aim between 250 and 300 pounds. Takes me about 8 to 9 months to get there. I have piglet or sows giving birth every few months, so I always have a supply of piglets. Due to the COVID, although I'm sold out until December. I have never had this much demand. I really hope the buy local, support your local farmers. I hope this continues because it's changing my life. I mean, I have an income that I can depend on, which is really, really nice right now. I know it's terrifying for everybody, but that has been my one nice thing.
I thought that was the case. I was gonna ask you if you'd ever sold out that far in advance. So I guess now one of the things you're probably gonna wanna do is get more pigs.
Yeah, I've already thought about that. I actually called, but we're in lockdown. So I was like, I could go to Oregon. And there's somebody up there that has really nice pigs. And I've been like, oh, I want those pigs. I want those pigs. So I've had to like talk myself down. I need to stay at home, shelter in place. I don't need new pigs right now. The struggle is real. It's real.
I think we have plenty of staff, either current staff or past staff that have livestock, goats and so on. They're always buying and getting their next goat. It's a like you said, I think the struggle is real for them as well. So
yeah.
We had one question, a couple of questions that are coming in. And well, Alondra Ortiz has a quick question. I'll ask it for her. Do you sell boar semen too?
I do not collect semen. No, I had a bad experience, and that's something I want to do. No, I mean, if I had enough demand, I probably would teach myself to do it, but no.
No, I think that's probably a good idea, Meg. Stay away from that business.
I had an incident. This is actually kind of a funny story, if you guys are ready to hear it. So when I first got a sow, I decided that I didn't want a boar because, everything I heard about boars were they were really dangerous and they were going to eat me. So I was like, okay, well, I can artificially inseminate a cow, so I could do a pig. So I had my veterinarian come over and teach me, and I didn't think that I was going to have to do it that day. I was just learning. It was a classroom setting as far as I was concerned. So I was in my shorts and my boots. Because it was, the summers up here are, 110 degrees. It was hot, and she was in heat. So he came out, and he was all suited up, and he, did the thing and put it in there. And then he said, you need to do it. And I said, I'm not ready to do it. And he's also my very good friend. So he kind of called me out and was like, you're going to do it. So there I am in shorts and boots, artificially inseminating my sow, Megan. I named after myself because that's how I kept her. Was like, you can't have me eat Megan. So I did it. It was great. She coughs, and I have semen all down my legs. It goes in my boots. And if you've ever smelled it, there's a very distinct smell. It's just not pleasant. So I'm over here dry heaving. My vet's laughing and pointing and videoing. After that, I decided I really didn't want to deal with semen.
No, I can understand. I think that's a good call.
I got a boar. I taught him he was my saddle pig. I taught him how to ride. So I would have cookies, and I would ride him around the ranch.
I remember those pictures. Those were great, and the video. So let's switch gears a little bit. You have done a lot of social media work. You've been in quite a few magazines, including Vogue. You have, and you're going to be coming up on Nature Conservancy magazine. You've been on TV shows. You've done a lot of different things. And part of more recently, I want you to talk a little bit about this, is the impact that two pretty serious wildfires, some of the biggest wildfires in the state, have had on your ranch, because you guys have been literally ground zero for two major fires. And I tell students to kind of what that was like for you. and what you're doing differently as a result of that fire. We talked a little bit about the electric fence, but if there's other things too that you're doing differently.
It's been exhausting. So we had the Oroville spillway failure where everybody had to evacuate. We stayed. We're a little above the flood zone, so I was just hoping for the best if it did fail. Then we had the Cherokee fire in 2017, and that caused almost $4 million worth of damage to our ranch. It took our water source, and then 13 months later, we had the Camp Fire. And it changed my community. It changed everything. The smoke caused a lot of damage in my pigs, so I had a lot of sows that died. They got respiratory issues. I've changed my electric fencing, like I said. It's just, you know, it's been this big thing. It's just this horrible thing that we're still not able to heal from. We still don't have water. The Miocene Canal was burned, and PG&E really didn't want to fix it. So we're litigating for that. It sounds like there might be a settlement, but I'm kind of not holding my breath. I had to attend a lot of meetings with the PG&E head honchos and our local representatives, and it just wasn't really a priority. So we punched wells, and they were really expensive. So it's, you know, dealing with this huge financial, and it's been a struggle. We're doing okay. We learned a lot about insurance, how it's really good to revisit your coverage to see what is and what isn't covered. We didn't do that well. Definitely a learning lesson. But you know, we're just hyper vigilant now. If you even smell smoke, I'm already just like, load the dogs, let's get out of here. So
Yeah.
it really changes your sense of safety.
Yes, absolutely. And how about in terms of like
Uh-oh.
climate change? Are you doing things differently on the ranch now to ensure that you're more resilient in the future from a climate change perspective?
Yeah, we've always kind of been aware of our grass. So we, like most of the ranchers in our area, we leave this ranch empty 6 months out of the year. It mimics the natural grazing patterns. So, but what's happening with that is we've had to alter when we move. We've been doing this for 6 generations. Normally we would move at the end of May. Now we're doing it in April, and we're moving home later. So it's just shifted everything. So, you know, I see it, I feel it. We used to get summer rainstorms here once in a while. We haven't had one of those in a couple of years. It's just, things are different.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so what do you think has changed in terms of having social media and being able to tell your story about these? Do you feel like more people are understanding issues that you're up against, or, you know, where do you think people kind of land in that?
Yeah, absolutely. When the fires were happening, you know, it made national news, it made worldwide news. And people, you know, I have such a large following and I follow so many people, there'd be people in like Texas talking about it. And there's a lot of victim blaming, saying, oh, we should have logged or we should have done that. And this fire was so ginormous, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, it burned through logged areas, it burned through grazed areas. You know, the real popular thing was burn it, graze it, or watch it burn. Well, you can still do that and it will burn. I'm living proof of things.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to tell other ranchers that were repeating that mantra, that that's really not true in this case, knock it off, that helped. And to have, you know, be able to talk to the consumers that were really worried. I have a lot of people out there that are in other states and other countries, and they know my pigs' names, they know my dogs' names. They were freaked out. They were so worried about me. And, you know, honestly, that it was sense of security. It was so nice to know that people were scared and concerned and worried about my animals. And one day I said, okay, because we just stayed here, but basically sheltering in place during the fire. That was a month long. One day I felt that we were safe enough. So I just said, okay, I'm going to the feed store. If anybody wants to donate, I'm taking it right down to the animal shelter in Gridley. I had over $1,000 in just a few minutes. That was 2 trips to the feed store. I mean, it warmed the cold cockles in my heart.
No, it was amazing to see all the people wanting to know more about what was going on. And you provided that, very intense, of course, very intense glimpse into the life of what it was like for you. And I think that was both difficult, but also, like you said, it really was heartwarming to know how many people were caring about you and your livestock, and that hopefully are following along with you in good times and in bad times, and asking you those kinds of questions from asking a real farmer versus just watching and looking at headlines. So that's pretty awesome.
The one nice thing about the fires was because of the social media. Again, I was able to connect with a lot of journalists that they were trying to find sources, but it was at a time when people, they didn't have computers, they didn't have a home. And the fact I was like, okay, I know these are my friends, these are my family. So it really helped me connect with journalists, and I'm still friends with a lot of these people. And when they have an ag question, they come to me. They know I'm a good source. And that's something I encourage other Aggies to do, really cultivate that relationship, because you're going to get better information out there because of it.
Yes. And instead of being resistant to those questions, even though you may not necessarily like the questions, it's going to be better off if it is coming from a real source versus somebody who doesn't have the experience that you do. So that's a really good point. Let's see, I just want to make sure that I'm hitting any questions. Okay, so Alondra, so do you want to unmute Alondra Letty and have her ask the last question that she just asked?
So my question was, do you have an escape plan just in case fires expand farther into your land for the pigs specifically?
That's a good question. Every time the fires have happened or come close, it's been in the middle of the night, and the pigs were asleep in the barn, so there was no way for me to load them in the trailer to even get them. And that was kind of hard. It was incredibly heartbreaking and stressful. Luckily, the first fire, the Cherokee fire that came through, I have a couple guardian dogs, but I had one guardian dog in particular that got all of the pigs. I have a couple different barns. She got all of her pigs into one barn. She stood in the door, wouldn't let them out. The firemen were trying to grab the dog and put on engine, and she wouldn't let them. And the next morning, they said, hey, we tried to get your dog, she wouldn't move. And I was like, no, that's her job, she was protecting the pigs. So the next morning when I was allowed back on the ranch, my whole pig pen was burned. It was gone except for one barn. And I go in there and I look, and there's a bunch of pigs, and they're just going, what happened? Oh my gosh. But so that's kind of my thing, is I let the dogs and the animals figure it out. But I do have a really good defensible space around. So if it does happen again, hopefully it won't be such a huge issue, because the fire was so big, we lost personnel. They had to go to other places, and they just let this place burn, which I totally understand. They needed to go to the populated areas. This is just a few homes. But they just left. So this time I'm ready. I have a water truck now. So I'm more prepared.
Yeah, that's right. So I just wanted to make sure if you wanted to have an opportunity to talk about the cattle side of your ranch as well. Give us a little bit of a knowledge and introduction to your cow-calf operation and some of the things that you do with your family and that as well.
So that's originally that's my agriculture. I grew up being a cattle rancher. Angus beef was my thing. And then I got pigs, and that's when everybody oh, she's got pigs now. But when I got the pigs, it was not popular. My peers were like, what do you want those stinking hogs for? And they made fun of me, and now they all buy pigs from me. But the beef, that's my first love. That's my true love. That we're actually right now, we're moving our cattle to the summer ground, because, hold on, I'll find one for you. Here we go. There's these stickers, and they're awful, and they'll get in dogs' ears, they'll get in the cow's eyes, they'll get up their nostrils, and it's really uncomfortable. So we move them up to Greenville. We don't have these. It's also about 20 degrees cooler. They have another spring feed. These cattle, they have a summer home. They are living a better life than most of us. It's really glorious. And I've recently started taking over that aspect. Before it was more of my dad's deal, but my dad's, you know, in his late 60s. So it's been slowly over the past couple of years, it's more my responsibility. I've been buying all the bulls. I've worked cattle by myself. We have Dr. Temple Grandin's corral setups. So I can work by myself or with one other person very quietly, very low stress, very efficiently. I love them. I will never go back to riding a horse and roping. It's hard on my hands, it's hard on my horse, hard on my body. I'm almost 40 and I still am like working and no scars, nothing's broken. By the time Dad was 40, he's had a new shoulder and new knee. So, you know, I don't want to say like I'm better, but
You have a lot less injuries, which is going to help you out down the road too.
yeah. Well, I like, my dad always says, you know, working with women, we work smarter, not harder. So that's kind of been my mantra is, you know, you'll see, and I'm not all men, but you'll see a lot of, you know, there's a lot of bravado in agriculture. So they'll be forcing this calf down a chute and they'll get kicked in the face because the calf doesn't want to do it. However, I will nicely ask this calf if it would like to go. We'll usher it quietly. There'll be some chin scratches. Who doesn't get kicked in the face? This girl.
I think you've got something there. It looks like one of our students has a question. Letty, do you want to unmute him? Daniel, this is for you. And tell us where you're from, Daniel, too. I should have asked Alondra that too, but Daniel, where are you from? Tell us that.
I'm from Kerman, from the Central Valley. My question is, pertains to the dogs. How do you get your dogs trained? How much it cost you? And how much time did it take?
That's a really, really good question. I lucked out. I had a Great Pyrenees. And it was my first time. Again, everybody on the ranch was like, you don't need one of those dogs, don't do it. I did it. And then I connected with an online dog trainer. This is what she did. And she taught me basically from scratch how to raise this dog. And for some reason, somehow I did a good job. And she just, the instinct on these dogs, they all come from working lines, but their instincts are so pure and true. You know, with a little bit of training, I put her kennel up here and she would get fed and all of her attention would happen when she was here. So, and when you raise a dog with something, they just tend to love it. So I just got this amazing dog and then I ended up adopting her mom and brother. So I have this, you know, great pack of Pyreneeses and I'm actually getting more, but I only paid $100 for this dog because I knew, or this puppy, I knew the guy that was selling and he knew it was going to be a good home. And it's amazing, but the good working Pyrenees already trained are several $1,000s if you can find them. It's actually something I'd like to get into, but I'm busy.
You have too many things that you are getting into. So I'm going to ask one more question here, Meg, and then if there was a chance for you to like get in closer with the pigs, you can do that. But I just wanted to ask you about how, you know, your experience, are you an only child? Is that correct? Yeah. And as being a woman in agriculture and just some of the things that the challenges.
I love it.
The challenges you faced and some of the ways that you have overcome those challenges being a woman in agriculture. Just give us a little taste of some of the things that you've been doing. Oh,
so this is one of my favorite topics. I am a woman. I'm an only child. I am seeing, is this better? Can you hear me?
It's coming, getting in and out. Yeah.
Okay. Whoa, I must just did a header. That was awesome. Is this, you're still, okay, that looks better. Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, only child, woman, 6th generation. So like on paper in agriculture, like I'm the real deal. I really am. This is what I do. But I also talk a lot about sexism and feminism, and it really upsets a certain segment of agriculture. We're not supposed to talk about it. It's like the dark underbelly. But it's something, because of who I am, I deal with all the time. Like, for example, the tools I use to castrate cattle, they're made from men's hands. So it's really exhausting when I'm doing this all day and I have to stretch. my tractor seat is made for a man, so I have to stretch way down. And by the end of the day, after doing that, my body hurts. I'm exhausted. So just those physical things, but even talking about it online, I've been subject to a lot of harassment. Somebody emailed my dad to tell him that I was talking about sexism. I've had rape threats. It's no joke. But I feel like this has become a big soapbox of mine for the past couple of years, and I feel like it's subtly getting better. The conversation is shifting. It's becoming more acceptable to be like, yeah, this exists in agriculture. So that's been nice to see the shift.
Well, and most all of us who are women in ag have had those experiences. And so it's one of those things that, we, at different levels, right? I mean, some of them maybe not as difficult as what you've dealt with, but I think it's also on all of us to help support and back up people when they are speaking out about things like this. So thank you, Meg, for being such a great advocate. You show us your piggies. Show us your piggies. Uh-oh.
No,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you go back to the pig?
These are my newest litter.
There we go. Ah, we're losing you. I think we lost her. No more pigs.
Okay, hold on.
Meanwhile, my rooster's crowing.
Maybe I'll go in the other barn. That barn
Yeah.
seems to have bad reception. Those are okay. I see.
Yeah, it's better. It's
Uh-oh.
getting better. Oh, now we lost her again.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to a different barn to see if the reception's better.
Okay, we'll try it.
These piglets aren't as cute though, so I'm sorry.
All piglets are cute.
That's true. Oh, here we go. Here's a big pig pile.
Pig pile? Oh God.
Oh, that pig wants to get me, so we're gonna leave there.
Okay, good. We
She's
don't
very,
get killed in this process.
she's very maternal, and I just woke her up, and like anybody, she's a little cranky. She hasn't had her coffee yet, so we're gonna back off a little bit.
Back away from the 1,000-pound sow. Good idea. Well, Meg, we'll let you go because I think it might be a little hard to get your connection in there where we need to see the pigs. So that's fine. The best thing to do is to go online, follow Meg on her social media where she does lots and lots of pig pictures, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook. You've got a blog. We'll get all of those out to everybody so that they can watch them. But why don't you just do a quick shout out of your handle so that people can follow you?
I'm Meg Ray B on Twitter. It's MEGRAEB, and that will basically get you my Twitter, my Instagram, and pretty much anything. My blog is the Beef Jar. That was before I had pigs, obviously. But yeah, find me. I'll generally follow back too. So yay!
Follow Meg. She's always full of all kinds of good information and stories.
Funny.
All right, Meg. Thank you so much. It's great to see you, and hopefully I can come up and visit together.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, I miss people.
I know. Someday we'll be able to visit again.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Meg. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.